Most people think detergent does all the work. It does not. A washing machine only cleans well when chemistry, motion, rinsing, and spin timing all work together. Your washer is not just soaking clothes. It is carefully combining water, detergent, fabric friction, draining, and high-speed spinning to get dirt out and keep it from settling right back into the clothes. Once you understand that, the whole machine starts to look much more impressive. Washing machines are one of those everyday objects that almost disappear into the background of life. You load them, press a button, walk away, and expect clean clothes later. But behind that simple routine is a system built around a very practical challenge. How do you remove dirt, oils, smells, and stains from fabric without damaging the fabric itself? That is why modern washers rely on the right mix of wash action, water temperature, and detergent rather than brute force alone. The main idea early: what a washer is really doing at its core. A washing machine cleans by doing 4 jobs in sequence. First, it wets the clothes so water and detergent can spread through the fabric. Second, it creates movement, either by tumbling, twisting, or rubbing the clothes against water and against each other. Third, it rinses away the loosened dirt and detergent. Fourth, it spins out as much remaining water as possible so drying becomes easier. That sounds simple, but each of those steps matters. Miss one of them, and the results get worse fast. Why detergent matters, but is not the whole story. Detergent helps because of chemicals called surfactants. A surfactant has one end that likes water and another that grabs onto oils and nonpolar dirt. That makes it easier for greasy or stubborn soil to separate from the fabric and move into the wash water. In simple terms, detergent helps water reach what plain water struggles to remove on its own. But detergent still needs movement and rinsing to finish the job. A pile of clothes sitting still in soapy water is not the same thing as a proper wash cycle. How the wash action actually works: this is where the machine design matters. In a traditional top-load washer, a central agitator moves back and forth through the water. GE explains that the agitator's fins move water, which then pushes clothes down into the water and back up the sides of the tub. In newer top-load designs, an impeller at the bottom creates motion more gently and often with less water. In front-load machines, lifters attached to the drum raise the clothes and drop them through the water as the drum turns. That tumbling action is a big reason front-loaders can clean effectively with less water. The hidden role of friction: a lot of people imagine the washer scrubbing clothes the way hands scrub on a washboard. Modern washers usually work in a more controlled way. They create friction by making clothes move against each other, against the water, and sometimes against an agitator. That friction helps loosen soil from fibers. This is why load size matters too. Too little movement, and cleaning suffers. Too much crammed into the drum, and the clothes cannot circulate well enough to rinse or spin properly. Good cleaning is really controlled motion, not random thrashing. The rinse cycle does more than most people think. It may be the most underrated part of the whole machine. Once surfactants have helped pull dirt and oils away from fabric, those particles need to leave the clothes. Axe explains that surfactant molecules can form micelles around stain particles, and that whole assembly goes out in the rinse cycle. In other words, the wash cycle loosens the mess, but the rinse helps carry it away. The drain pump then removes water after the main wash, after the rinse stages, and during the final spin. So the rinse cycle is not a small extra step. It is the step that helps prevent loosened dirt and leftover detergent from staying behind. Why high-efficiency machines need the right detergent. This also explains why high-efficiency machines are picky about detergent. The U.S. Department of Energy notes that front-load and high-efficiency top-load washers should use detergent labeled for HE machines because those detergents are low-sudsing and quick-dispersing for machines that use less water. If a washer uses less water, it has less room for excessive foam. So modern machines are not just different in shape. They depend on detergent that matches the way the machine cleans. The spin cycle is a physics trick. After washing and rinsing comes the part most people think of as just wringing things out. But the spin cycle is one of the machine's smartest features. The drum spins fast so water is driven out of the fabric and out through the drum openings, while the drain system removes that water from the machine. Front-load washers often spin faster than top-load models, which is one reason clothes can come out drier and drying times can be shorter. So the washer is not just cleaning. It is already doing part of the dryer's job by removing water before drying even starts. Water temperature and energy use temperature matters too, but maybe not in the way many people assume. The Department of Energy says that unless you are dealing with oily stains, warm or cold settings usually do a good job. It also says switching from hot to warm can cut a load's energy use in half. That is a good reminder that washing performance is not only about blasting clothes with the hottest water possible. It is about matching temperature, detergent, and cycle type to the actual job. A good washer is really balancing cleaning power, fabric care, water use, and energy use all at once. Before machines, laundry was hard and slow. It is easy to forget how much work laundry used to be. Smithsonian notes that in the mid-19th century, long before modern appliances, laundry was time-consuming and labor-intensive. People relied on tubs, washboards, soaking, rubbing, lifting, wringing, and a lot of physical effort. That is why early laundry inventions were so attractive. They were not just gadgets. They promised to reduce one of the most repetitive household jobs in daily life. The long road from hand laundry to automatic washers. The move toward modern washing machines happened in stages. The Library of Congress has an 1866 publication centered on Hamilton E. Smith's hydraulic clothes washer, showing that inventors were already trying to mechanize laundry in the 19th century. Britannica explains that experiments with clothes washing mechanisms continued through that century, and by the early 20th century the electric motor had been harnessed for the job. In the 1920s, manually controlled electric washing machines were marketed, using agitators or rocking actions. Then, in 1937, the first automatic electric washer appeared. A front-loading machine with a horizontally mounted tub that automatically moved through washing, draining, rinsing, and spinning. That is a huge shift, from helping with laundry to managing the whole process. Top load versus front load. The real difference. So what is the real difference between top load and front load machines today? It is not just the door location. It is the cleaning method. Traditional top load washers with agitators use a central post to move water and clothes aggressively. Top-load impeller machines use a lower profile piece at the bottom and depend more on clothing movement and friction. Front-load washers tumble clothes through the water with lifters on the drum. According to Energy Star, front-load washers are generally more efficient, using about 45 to 50% less energy and water than top-load agitator washers, and they are still about 25% more energy and water efficient than top-load impeller models. That does not mean every front loader is automatically better for every person, but it does show why they became such a big part of modern laundry design. Why modern washers feel smarter, also do more automatic decision-making than older machines. Some preset cycles are designed to adjust water use, wash action, and spin behavior for different load types and soil levels. Some models also use load sensing technology to help determine how much water is needed. So even though the basic principles are still water, detergent, motion, rinse, and spin, The machine is getting better at balancing those pieces with less guesswork from the user. That is part of the smart washer story. It is not just about apps. It is about more automation inside the cleaning process itself. Why this everyday machine still matters. The washing machine changed daily life by saving labor, time, and physical effort. It also changed expectations. Clean clothes went from a major repeated task to something many households treat as routine. That is the real story here. Not just the machine itself, but the way a hidden system of chemistry, mechanics, draining, and spin physics became invisible because it works so reliably. The better the machine got, the less people had to think about what it was doing. And maybe that is the final sign of a successful everyday invention. It became ordinary. So the next time you hear a washer start up, remember what is really happening inside. Detergent is lifting oils and dirt. Motion is creating friction. The rinse is carrying suspended grime away. The spin cycle is throwing out water so drying becomes easier. And all of that comes from a long history that began with hard manual labor and slowly turned into one of the most useful household machines ever made. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share and subscribe. Then tap the bell icon to turn on all notifications so you never miss any of our future videos.